Well, we all think that vicious cycle is something happening to us. It's what we humans mostly think. If I'm not feeling happy, it's because of what somebody else did or didn't do, or something I have or don't have. And so we think of it as something outside ourselves. And that just makes us feel like a victim of the world, or a victim of certain people in the world, or situations. When in fact, yes, we all had our programming, but if I can see what my programming is, then I can do changes inside myself. It's like we know that the computer came from people figuring out how the brain worked, and they used that to learn how to create a computer. And so now with your computer, if you get it all gummed up and not working well, you go delete, 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 and install new programs, then your computer works well. Well, we see from that, that's exactly what we all need to do with our brains. That our brains were programmed in a certain way, given what was going on when we were little kids. They say we form our personalities by age 5, and then of course we have a lot more influences even the other growing up years. And that all forms together who I am and how I think, how I feel, how I see things, how I relate to people, how I feel frightened of people, how I'm open to them or closed off from them. All those things come from what my experiences were. Well, I need to have a way of pressing the delete button on all the things that take me where I don't want to go and that bring me pain and suffering instead of love and joy and happiness. I need to delete, delete, delete on those experiences, and so they're not part of my brain and automatic reaction to things, and I need to install some positive ones into place, and to realize that the power of that change lies inside me, not out there somewhere in what somebody else does or doesn't do. I need to see that one thing, a quote I read years ago that's been helpful to me is that people are just coming from one of two places. They're either being love or they're appealing for love. And just that simple distinction I found so helpful, because if they're being angry at me, they're treating me shabbily, or they're poor, if I can see, okay, they're not being love, they're appealing for it, that means they've got some very deep deprivation of love inside themselves. Who knows where it came from? There might be a stranger, is butting ahead of me in the grocery store line or whatever, or bumping into me and pushing me away. But if I can see that, boy, they're just appealing for love, because if I take it differently, then I'm going to be angry and I'll want to retaliate. I might even go into a verbal fight. Sometimes people go into physical fights. That doesn't solve it for us. It just makes us more convinced that we're going to be a powerless victim again. But if I can see that it's one of the top physicists of the world now, David Bohm from the University of London, said, thought creates the world. And then it says, I didn't do it. That means we denied. We have our power, but we denied. And we all interconnected. Like Einstein put it, it's just an optical illusion that we're separate. But we're not separate at all. We're an illusion of it in this body that seems separate. But all of our thoughts are never private. They're out engaging everything and everyone, because we know they make plants thrive or will kill them. Makes a strain of DNA in a petri dish relax or go into a tight knot. And we see different water molecules that are filmed with different thoughts around them. So we need to see, where do I start? It's getting rid of the old programs that don't help me, that are inside myself. They came from my childhood, my experiences with different people. Maybe in school, maybe certain teachers, maybe other kids in the neighborhood way back then. But I need to see what I'm carrying of that old programming that causes me to see things and attract things in a way that don't help me. And to see that I can change that thinking and that perception. I can clear out those traumas, those painful experiences. And I can learn another way of being here now, so I can create literally a different world for myself. Because I'm the one who creates my world, is what the physicists would now say. It's not something that happens to me, but I'm really in the act of creation with every thought I have.